In this video, you learn 3 ways to apply block chords to your guitar playing. By doing so, you're going to be able to play chords all over the fretboard in a number of different musical contexts. Hi, this is Simon Candy from acousticguitarlessonsonline.net, and yes, today we are going to be looking at how to apply block chords to your guitar playing. Now, block chords are a great way to break out of always playing open chords and bar chords. It's a good next level or next step as far as chords are concerned. And as I say, bar chords, open chords, nothing wrong with them. They're a must know. They serve a great purpose for our guitar playing. But if that's all you know, then you are really limiting yourself as far as chords are concerned on the instrument. In this lesson, you're going to learn 3 ways to utilize block chords in your guitar playing. We'll look at comping across a blues, where you'll be playing all up and down the fretboard using block chords. I'll show you the neighbor chord approach, which adds smoothness and that sophistication to your playing, as well as a way of incorporating block chords with Travis picking, which is a very, very cool sound and really good because you don't need anyone else playing along with you. It sounds nice, full and complete on your own. Now, if you are new to block chords, if you've never played block chords before, I'm going to link to a video in the top right corner. This is one I did a little while ago on the channel, and that will break it down a little bit more for you. So you don't necessarily have to go there first. You can follow with us today on this video, but definitely check that out because there'll be more information about the block chords and a little bit of foundation there for you. Okay, so let's get to it. This first approach that you're about to hear uses block chords over a G blues, 12-bar blues, and I'll be using shapes all up and down the fretboard following the changes. So have a listen to how this sounds first, and then we'll come back and we'll break it down. So the approach you just heard there is basically moving between different block chord shapes across a static chord. So you were hearing a blues, and I think the backing was just power chords, just muted down. And there's this 4 bars of just G. So while that's happening, I can play different G 7th block chords. And there are 4 of them that I can play. I've got 4 block chords here, ranging up and down the fretboard, covering quite a bit of range there. And they're all inversions of the same chord. So I'm not going to go into the detail here. You can check the video linked in the top right for that. However, you can hear how they all are the one chord. And they create movement over a static chord in the backing. And I think in that example there, I was sort of doing this. Type of thing, right? And each time I move to a new chord, there's a new note in the upper register, and it creates a little melody on the top string. So with that line there, you're hearing this basically. That's the melody sort of being implied there with the changing of the chord. Okay, now when it went to the C chord, then I can move all those shapes into the C positions. So we've got, again, 4 positions for our C block chord, C dominant 7th block chord that is. And I think with that one there, I was sort of up a little higher, moving down, and then I had to go back to my G because there's only 2 bars on the C. And I just sort of repeated an earlier line on the G. And then it went to the D, so I was playing D. So again, I'm just moving the block chords into a D 7th position over the D chord, of course. And then we've got back to C, and then back to G. And there might have been a D at the end, the 5 chord, before coming back to the G. So the basic approach here, the application here is movement, creating movement over a static chord. Block chords are great for that, and you'd be comping all up and down the fretboard. Okay, so that's the first approach for applying block chords to your guitar playing. Let's have a listen to another application of block chords here. So I call this one the neighbor chord approach. Let's have a listen to it first, and then we'll come back and we'll break it down. So that approach is the neighbor chord approach. And so what that means is it's very similar to the first example. However, instead of just playing between the different block chord positions, the inversions of the block chord, I'm playing the neighbor chord. Now the neighbor chord is the chord that is either 1/2 step below the block chord I'm targeting or a 1/2 step above. So a 1/2 step is a fret. So if I've got this first chord, little G7 block chord here, I can approach it by a 1/2 step below and resolve into it, or a 1/2 step above and then resolve down. Okay, and I can do that with any of the chords. Okay, any of the shapes, which is basically what I was doing throughout that example there. Now there is a little caveat here, or a little rule to follow if you like, and that is the neighbor chord that's 1/2 step below or above the chord you're targeting needs to be on the 2 or the 4. Okay, and we resolve in on the 1 and the 3. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Right, so 1 neighbor chord, 4 on the neighbor chord there. Okay, we're going to resolve on 1 and 3 for it to work. Okay, and then 4 and 1, 2 and 1. Okay, so that's the thing that you got to follow there. And then, much like the first example, when it went to the C, and then went back to G. Okay, it was something like that. I'm not playing exactly what I did there, I don't think, but that's the basic idea. And you can get a really nice run of in, out, that tension resolve sort of thing happening. So I think when I got to the 5 chord in the blues there, I went to a D, of course, because that's our 5 chord. Then I went 1/2 step above. So I went. So I'm going from 1 D block chord to another, but on the way, if you like, 1/2 step above, resolving in 1, 2. So there's the neighbor chord on 2, resolve on 3. Then I went down to the C, neighbor chord on 4 into C. Neighbor chord, C, and then into the G. This is at the last bar. So that was like. And then our 5 chord. Okay, so it's a very cool way to add sort of a very smooths out the sound a little bit. Gives you that sophisticated sound, that jazzy sort of sound if you like. Okay, so it's the neighbor chord approach, 1/2 step above or below the chord that you're targeting, and make sure the chord that is the neighbor chord, so the one that's sort of out of key basically, is either on the 2 or the 4, and you resolve to the chord on 1 or 3. Very, very cool sound, so have a play around with that one. And the third approach here was using Travis picking, or the Travis picking pattern with block chords. And it was a blues again, but it was in the key of E. And there's a very specific reason why I chose E. And that is because you've got the low droning root of E. So that means when you play your block chords up and down the fretboard as an E7 chord, okay, you can keep a very low root note in there, no matter how high you go, because of course it's an open string. And then when you go to A, oh, wrong chord. When you go to A, you can do the same thing. You've got a low A string there that can ring out at any time wherever you are on the fretboard. So even without applying Travis picking here, very cool to play in the key of E or E and A based block chords, because you've got the droning root note throughout. There's the E and the A. Okay, and then what I was doing is I was basically following the same concept as the first example, moving between different block chords to create static movement, movement across a static sound. So the harmony is just E7 for 4 bars, but I was applying a Travis picking pattern like so, but then I was moving between different block chords. Basically the same pattern, and see how I can get this bass pattern going on my 6-4-6-4. I'll link to a Travis picking video in the top right corner if you're not sure about that or you want to explore it further. There's quite a few on the channel, but I'll link to a particular one up there so you can check it out a bit further. But that works really nicely over the E. And then when I got to the A, I could get a 5-4 bass and play a Travis picking pattern while playing block chords. And then I just came back to the E and went. Now, when you get to B, you don't have a low B open string. You've got a higher open B string, but that's not going to be much use to us as a root note. So what I do if I'm playing across a blues doing this sort of thing, I just either use an open B7 chord and apply a bit of a Travis pick on that, which is what I did in that example. Sometimes I might go to the bar chord, B7. You only got a bar on that, so it's fine. 80 to 90% of your progression is going to be using the lower open E and A strings as root notes, and then you just move up and down with your block chords however you want. And so you create the movement across a static harmony or harmonic background, and you apply a Travis picking pattern to get a very cool sound. So that is another way that you can apply block chords to your guitar playing. If you like this video, then you'll love this free ebook I've created for you in my Jazz Concepts for Acoustic Guitar series, simply titled Block Chords. In this ebook, you learn the 3 main block chord types for your guitar playing and how to create great music with them. I also show you how to best visualize these shapes on your guitar so you never forget them. It's as easy as changing one single note in each block chord shape. You also learn a system for easily relating the block chord shapes to each other all over the fretboard so you can play any chord you like in any position with ease. So click the link below in the description of this video and download your free copy of the ebook audio Jazz Concepts for Acoustic Guitar Block Chords. Let me know in the comments what acoustic guitar topics you'd like to see me cover in future videos. I love to hear your suggestions. I love reading your comments. If you've got any questions, don't be afraid to ask. I will do my best to answer them. Let me know if you have any ways that you like to use block chords in your playing. Would love to hear about them. If you like this video, then hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And if you do, you know what I'm going to say, don't forget to hit the all-important notification bell button. That way YouTube can tell you when I've released a new video. This is Simon Candy from acousticguitarlessonsonline.net. As always, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.